that I would like to welcome all of you tonight to Class O2 of our DAP entrepreneurship class. Last week we had a very intriguing class from my co-instructor, Dan, which I participated because I myself am not a technical entrepreneur in the terms of not having studied to code, but I did still since 2001 a couple of startups. So still with a very intriguing and a very deep knowledge of what architecture is, but obviously not able to code, right? Which brings me to the topic of who is it that you need in your team. As a matter of fact, I see here, and I would like to share now the result of the show on stage, right? I see here that 46%, so 17 votes, are saying, I am currently struggling with team formation. And then 35% are saying, well, actually, my struggle is the ideas. Then we have only one vote that has no challenges. And 8 of you guys must be receiving right now from Dan Shields some burritos delivered because you guys are hungry. So congratulations on that. Joke aside, team formation. Guys, team formation, what I would like to do actually is start getting a sense of who has actually, as a team, whoa, I thought Tommaso had thing. As a team, who has already completed the team and would like to start getting sharing the assignment that we had 2 weeks ago, which is the team formation sheet and value assessments, right? Who would like to get here on screen real quick and as an entire team and start sharing initial experiences on how the team was formed? Again, who would like? Please write in the chat. Who of you would like? And maybe Tim or Manon might be supporting me on having some peers on screen. Who of you would like to get on screen on stage and share who has already a team? So who has already a team, and what was the process like? Remember, this class is about entrepreneurship. What we are unlocking is the DNA of you being an entrepreneur. I'm already suggesting some hints here. New race, Dillian Freeman, congratulations. Congratulations to Dillian. Let's invite Dillian on stage.
Sounds good.
Let's see. Oh,
Dylan.
hey.
Dylan, you know what I like in what you did right now? That everybody had enough time to reflect if being exposed, if getting in front of everybody. This is a very important principle that we have learned here right now, if you reflect on it, which is, hey, I want to be self-confident enough in a situation where I was not prepared to tell what I learn or what I do. And again, entrepreneurship is not that you get a certificate and you get basically an acknowledgement to become an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is a series of characteristics that you develop within you that you then have the confidence of acting towards this unstructured world of entrepreneurship. Dylan, this could have been what we call the elevator pitch, right? And the question now, I mean, the elevator pitch was born, right, exactly because of you enter an elevator, right, and there is somebody who potentially might be your future investor, and you have an idea, and you have only a couple of floors to convey the idea and make an impression. So I would really like to applaud Dylan as being in the first time in this class. the person who said, "Yep, I want to go on stage. I don't know how it's going to be. I maybe don't feel very confident, but I'm going to do that," right? And by the way, dear class, lesson learned, okay? In the future, these so-called curveballs, this so-called catching you off guard, I'm going to do a lot. And the reason why is because I'm not teaching you the blockchain part. I'm teaching you the entrepreneurial part, right? And as an entrepreneur, that's what I want to make you ready for, right? So Dylan, you have a team?
We do, yeah. So we have a team of 5.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so
So
it's
the question
me.
that I have to you is, how did you do it?
How did we do it? So we started off, going around talking with everyone in the teams, and I was taking notes, on each of the people that I met and looking for folks that had skills that I didn't have, and that were interested in similar things, and specifically looking for people with hard technical skills because I'm an MBA student, and my undergrad was not in engineering. So,
Okay.
specifically looking for people, interested in similar things, and found. Do you want me to say names or just leave people?
Yeah, please, please. Yes, if
Oh,
you want to share your screen, you want to go through this assignment, feel free to take it from me. I give you 2-3 minutes, right? So to the point and conveying basically what you did, how you did it. The goal here is to motivate the others, 49% that have said, I have challenges, right? To get inspired on how did you manage your challenge? Did you had in any moment the challenge to actually seek somebody and say, well, I don't know if this is the right person or the
yeah,
right? And how did you
yeah,
manage that?
definitely. Well, we started talking in the specific channel, and we just
Okay.
decided, and it was Surya actually. He
Okay.
just decided, hey, let's have a brainstorming and just talk. This was outside of class.
Okay.
So him taking that step and inviting all of us to come talk, and we just had a group of 5 or 6, and we were going through all of our different ideas. And that is some of the challenges that we're currently going through is figuring out how to narrow that idea.
Okay. So just step back a second and double click on one thing. Did you say that you met out of class? Did you organize something out of class?
I didn't. Surya did, but yeah.
Okay. So, but you guys basically had the initiative to do something out of class.
Right.
Okay.
And
Okay.
we have already talked about starting a brainstorming sessions every few days or some kind of weekly tag up for progress reports and stuff like that. We haven't come to an exact date, but we all know that we want to talk more than just being in class.
So would you say that going beyond the hour and a half here twice a week and meeting somewhere else, that this was something that contributed towards you finding the right team?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
And we have a Google Docs, and even on that thing, like if I can't sleep and it's 12 o'clock, I've got on there written some stuff, and Surya or Avery or whoever it is will come back and say, no, that's stupid, or this or that. So that's been good. With finding the people that had similar ideals, and we basically just, even though it wasn't maybe a perfect match, like we didn't have the same exact idea, it wasn't a perfect brain meld. I think it was definitely close enough to have some success, and yeah, I'm looking
Dylan,
forward.
the one thing that you advise right now your peers, what to do in a situation that I still don't have a team. What is it, Dylan?
Be vulnerable.
Okay.
Yeah, just like being able to admit to because every meeting is like a new, I don't know, first date.
Fantastic. So a couple of let's recap, right? So you were looking for somebody that complements you. So you assessed maybe the sheet that we had initially. You read through it, right? You approached folks, right? Then you started jumping from one table to the other. I assume this took you a while, right? Then you said, well, maybe I don't have enough time, right? So maybe why don't we meet actually also outside this framework of AirMeet, right? Why don't we seek here to bond, to understand? And you said you started creating some joint ideas, right? Did you finally create also kind of a role assignment? What is everybody doing?
Yeah, we do. So let me look at it real quick. So myself and Avery, MBA students, will be doing business. He'll be on the marketing side. Pauline will be working on customer experience and design. Stanislaus will be strategy, and Surya will be our tech engineer.
Fantastic. Dylan Freeman, be vulnerable, jump around, see complementary people. And thank you so much, Dylan, for you being the first one. A big round of applause for Dylan. Congratulations. This leads me to the next point, which is, dear class, if the process of an entrepreneur, right, is never in sequence. It's not you find one thing or you get one thing done and you move into the next one. You always work in parallel things, right? And then you basically start in those parallel activities, assessing what the priorities are. I know it kind of sounds in common sense, but right now, most of you have, in fact, the statistics show the two main challenges, which is, well, do I have a team? Question mark. How do I get to a team? And you need to hustle. You need to go beyond what you do in class. You need to outreach to folks. You need you as a product to present yourself to others, be vulnerable, and say what you offer to the table. And guess what? It's all a matter of KPIs, of numbers, on how often you knock on doors that you get the team. And then in parallel, right, there is this activity now that we are getting today for the first time started officially, which is opportunity recognition, right? But before we get into opportunity recognition, I would like to invite on stage Timothy, and Timothy will help me doing one thing, which is another surprise here, which leads again to engagement. Timothy, what are we going to do now?
All right, hey everyone. So we're gonna start doing this new thing where every week we'll select one of the reflection vlogs and play it. So this week, as I was grading, I selected Jacob's vlog. So is Jacob in the audience?
Jacob K.
Jacob
K. Is Jacob here? Jacob K. Just now. Yes. Cool. So can we call him on stage? Show on stage. Invite on stage. Invited. Okay.
Cool. So
why do we have Tim? Why do we have Jacob on stage again? What is exactly that we're showing now? Where is he?
So I think I'm gonna share screen and show the vlog, but basically I kind of selected this one because I liked how it was very specific and kind of reflected both upon what was taught during lecture, but also some challenges that I'm sure many other students are facing. Okay. So sorry, hold on, I need to share audio.
Hey Jacob, what up?
Hi.
You good?
I'm good.
How you feel?
Nervous.
Okay, so should be good to go.
There were three things that really resonated with me from the first week. The first one is by studying the assigned material and also going beyond it. I really tried to dive deeper into blockchain, how it works, its use cases, and what is already out there in the real world. And so I found it really surprising to see that many ideas already have been translated into businesses. I'm super excited to be part of this movement with the course to translate this new technology into real world use cases. The second part of the first week that really resonated with me was how Tommaso made us focus on building teams based on our strengths, weaknesses, and desires, rather than just jump in and talk about ideas and topics. I believe that for many of us, it would have been easier to just go into breakout rooms and talk about the ideas like we are used to from many other courses. But I believe that the way Tommaso told us could lead in the end to stronger teams. And that is, as Tommaso said, the single most decisive factor for success. And so that was very interesting to see. And the third part I would like to mention from the first week was I was really surprised to learn how many people are interested in the healthcare space, which I found extremely compelling. I have a medical background and I love to think about ideas how to improve the system. And that was also the reason why I chose this course, because I wanted to do a project in that space. And so all the conversations we had in the healthcare channel on Slack and also in meetings we set up outside of class, we had really fruitful discussions. We are now in the midst of creating a healthcare team with a disruptive idea to change the system to the better. And I'm really looking forward to the next week to work with you and learn from you again. Thank you.
Tim, why did we choose Jacob today?
So I felt that this reflection kind of touched upon a couple of key points that were covered during lecture, as well as some challenges that I'm sure many of the students are facing right now. And it's always really nice to hear what students are up to and what they come up with in the future.
Jacob, applaud. Really good. Thank you so much for you putting the energy and reflecting upon what, not what you did, but what impacted you. I want to repeat it, okay? So not what you guys did, okay? But what impacted you, what moved you, right? And I would like to, from an entrepreneur standpoint, get the sense how sensible you are, like how much do you look in between the lines and how nuanced you are to what is conveyed, right? Where things might sound maybe sometimes as common sense, right? But there is some depth to it, right? And also, Tim, thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much for supporting here. And Jacob, anything that you would like to advise in terms of the way that you're approaching the vlogging and what you shared here for others that maybe might struggling with it?
I mean, I guess I really made a structure for the vlog. So I knew that I want to talk about like the 3 different topics. And so I really made like highlighted them. I tried to be clear and concise within the 2 minutes, that it also makes sense. And I structured it with the 3 different points so that everyone can follow what I'm saying there, because otherwise I think I get lost in my thoughts and then I don't know what I'm saying and the other person is
fantastic.
Really there.
I love it. So structuring, basically be clear in your thoughts, right? And the reason why I keep asking us what we learn, right? Entrepreneurship is all about being humble and asking each other, what are we learning, right? That's something that is fundamental in all my teams and all my endeavors that I do. What are we learning? What is it that you have done, Jacob? Why did you assess Tim, Jacob in a certain way, right? So these are fundamentals for the entire process of you finding yourself, defining yourself, and evolving as an entrepreneur. And with that, I would like to jump over. Thank you so much, Jacob and Tim. Thank you so much. I would like to jump over into, we have what, roughly 7 p.m. We have an hour left. That's great. Dear class, I'm super excited to share and get into the second, let's call it second chapter of this entrepreneurial course. Today, we are going to dive into opportunity recognition. And as a matter of fact, okay, I had Kevin who reached out to me, and he asked me something that happens almost in every semester that I have, depending on which phase we are in, team creation and now opportunity recognition, and obviously that you have doubts, right? Say, hey, I don't know if this idea is the right one, right? And it's a very legit question. It's a I would say one of the FAQ questions. And I asked Kevin to bear with me a second, because in this class I'm going to share with you, I wouldn't call it a framework, but in a capacity, it is a guideline on how you would like to assess opportunities. What makes sense, right? How big is the opportunity? How relevant is the opportunity now? How feasible is the opportunity? How frequent is the opportunity? What a potential has the opportunity, right? Because when you define it, everybody has an idea, ladies and gentlemen here, right? I mean, in entrepreneurship, since I've been living here in Silicon Valley, I used to say one sentence that maybe outside of Silicon Valley does not resonate so much, but I say that it's not about your idea, right? Because everybody has an idea. It's about the ability you to execute towards the idea. Now, the idea is important, right? But it's not about just having the idea, but execute to the idea. Today, we are going to assess what makes an idea a real big idea, right? Here in the Bay Area, we are used to have a big idea or an idea with a big impact, with a big opportunity, in order for what? In order to basically then raise dollars and scale out of it, right? While I was doing, by the way, I'm an entrepreneur that did businesses on a couple of sides of the world, right? I lived in Germany for 20 years, so I did in Germany quite some business, some successful business, right? And then I did business here, and it's quite different how you approach businesses in general, right? And here you approach businesses really with, okay, future back. You say, okay, where do you want to go with your idea? Where do you want to land with this potential opportunity? What then do you want to make in the world? What problem do you want to solve, right? And elsewhere, I would even say, even outside Silicon Valley, because United States, it's almost, the ecosystem here in Silicon Valley thinks, and elsewhere, you build a product and you build a system in order for you, to generate revenue and maybe make a living, right? So please feel free, and it's almost an encouragement right here, class, right? Feel free to start commenting, start asking questions, right? And so that we can have a dialogue, right? And then we will be going into a group work. Group work will be focused on opportunity and idea assessment. I will provide you a couple of tools for us to assess that. And you might have noticed that I do like chatting as much as possible with the class. And in order for you to prepare also for the next class, the only thing that you might expect from Tommaso, as the guy who runs with you entrepreneurship, is that I am not somebody that is very predictable, right? So because I would like to unlock exactly this DNA in you, to be very spontaneous and deal with circumstances that you have not prepared. But enough about this talk. I will be actually now switching to a deck. That's the reason why I am also kindly asking Tim and Manon, because I will be on a different screen. So if there is a technical issue or if there are some questions coming up that might be intriguing, awesome. I see Manon come on stage. Feel free, Tim. Let's do this as a collaborative effort. I'm now switching my screen sharing to the other screen. I see here entire
Sounds great.
screen. Fantastic. Thank you so much, guys, for the support. I love support. And you should be able to see now my family and the deck. Okay. Cool.
Okay, looks great.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Menon. And yeah, you guide me. So I'm not looking right now at the meetup, right? How to recognize a tangible opportunity, right? What is actually an opportunity, right? How do we define actually an opportunity? What is something that it's worth pursuing? And actually, what I would like also to assess today, what is actually worth to pursuing now? And let me add one more thing here. What is actually worth to pursuing now that enchants others? And maybe the last part is the most intriguing one. Because if I think about enchanting others, that's what we do as an entrepreneur, right? As much as we think that putting a team together is challenging and finding an idea is challenging and fundraising, all of this is challenging, right? But enchanting others, it's what you would like to train within your DNA the most, right? And when I say others, I want to be even a bit more, narrow it a bit more down. You will be enchanting your co-founder or not. And if you don't enchant your co-founder, maybe you lost a good talent. You might be enchanting your next employee. You might be enchanting press. You might be enchanting your investor. So it's all about your ability to enchant the others, right? With what, Tommaso? With your opportunity, with your idea, right? And with your charisma. Today, we're going to assess how you actually double click on potential ideas opportunity. And I created kind of, right, a 3-step approach. Not that this is a silver bullet, right? In entrepreneurship, there are no silver bullets, but a kind of a guideline for you to start saying, okay, we can have, a step number 1, which I kind of called, pause a second and analyze what's going on. Is there anything going on that might resonate with you that it's pretty big, right? The second step, once you assess that and you kind of have a feeling, right, you want to double click on it, right? And say, okay, let's expand upon that. I think there is something big going on. Let's double click on it, right? And then last but not least, as long as these ideas or thoughts are on paper, as long as you just think, as long as you are just have an hypothesis, right? This is not valuable. It's less valuable than if you basically gather evidences for your hypothesis. And I want to give you a concrete example here. As an entrepreneur, when I started actually my first company, which was an email and web security company in the cloud. By the way, you read here in the cloud when I'm talking about here the year 2001. So it was not called in the cloud, right? It was called a hosted software provider. There was no managed service back then. There was no software as a service back then. There was no cloud computing service back then, right? And we were one of Europe's back then in Europe largest email and web security provider in the cloud. So how did I kick off things, Tommaso? How did you assess this opportunity, right? The one thing that I started assessing was actually more an outside in, what I call a macroeconomic assessment, right? So opportunities become always very tangible when there is a change, right? When there is something moving, when there is something happening that changes the macroeconomics in a market, right? Back then in 2001, for those who have read, obviously, I know that some of you were born. I mean, I have a son who was born in 2001, must be around your age. So back then there was the dot-com burst. So tech was basically going in a down direction, right? The economy was very shook up because of the burst. So there were basically a lot of insecurities on the market that translated from the economy into insecurity technologies. Why technologies? Because basically people started spending less on technology and businesses starting less on technology, and hackers back then started developing more and more viruses and spam. So the economy caused a change. The change basically caused a change in financials, in how businesses allocated money, right? And because they didn't spend too much money, right, there was basically this gap, this opportunity. I mean, back then it was basically huge and humongous, right? This wave of spam and this wave of viruses, right? And it was really, you see here, the wave of spam, right? How fast it grew, right? So there was definitely a huge issue. Tommaso, caused by what? Caused by change, caused by shift. So take a piece, take a pen and or make some notes. Is there a big shift right now? Question mark. And I mean, maybe this might be the most stupid question and the most that somebody can ask, because right now the world is literally being impacted the last 24 months in its essence on how to behave, where to go, what to do, how to interact with people, how to communicate. So we are living in a world of change, in a moment of change. And when you see change, you see opportunities, right? So, and that's when you start discovering opportunities. Now, back to Mail Plus Web, right? I was alluding already that the spending power from businesses were changing because the economy was going down. And by changing the spending power, what also was changing was the way that businesses were allocating dollars, because your capital expenses or your operating expenses, the way that you were dealing with liquidity shifted. Right. And the reason why I'm mentioning that is now jumping into the solution, right? Because this created an opportunity for folks like me and others, obviously, around the world, right, to create not only a solution for the very specific problem of spam, but also changing the business model on how we could solve the problem for those companies facing the challenge of liquidity, which, ladies and gentlemen, what was developed back then was the subscription business. Subscription business that previously not exist in the tech world. It was existing in the telco world, but it was not existing in the software and the hardware world. In the software and hardware world, back then when I started in 1998, you had transactional business, right? And today, again, fast forwarded, now me investing in metaverse, in NFTs, being part of the management of one of the largest metaverses, right? It's shifting again. Why? Because it's shifting into metaverse business models that are different from ads business. Ads business is pay as you go. Metaverse business model, what I describe in my book, is joint value creation. But I will, I don't want to annoy you with those things and continue for now at least on the topic of opportunity recognition. Once I assessed that, meaning the outside in perspective, and I understood how massively, I repeat, take notes, massively, ask yourself, is this problem massive? How is the definition of massive? How frequent is it? And maybe frequency is the most relevant attribute that your problem that you would like to solve needs to have. Frequency. By the way, why is frequency so important? Now I would like to shift to the class. Who can think of why frequency is so important? Okay, Naman, drives user growth. User are more sticky. Okay. Anything else? To engage. Okay. Leah, absolutely. Easy to validate idea. All right. Thank you so much, class. That's exactly right. If the problem is not frequent enough, okay, then you cannot create a habit. And if you cannot create a habit, the probability of you creating engagement, stickiness, retention is almost impossible, right? So in order for you to assess your problem, ask yourself, first, is it big enough? Secondly, how frequent is it, right? And then what you do by assessing that is you say, well, do I have the right team? Do I have the right attributes? Do I have the right competencies to basically solve this problem? So what you are seeing here are two approaches. One is is there a change macro-wise? And secondly, do I bring the right things to the table? And bringing the right things, meaning the right talents, the right technologists, the right designer, right? That's where you see the importance of team creation, right? And now what you do with team creation is you're basically combining, is my team, first of all, aligned with my vision and with my vision of what I want to solve. You heard Jacob that he's passionate about, as an example, right, about healthcare. So most probably Jacob would ask, hey, how about healthcare? Do you like healthcare? That's version 01 of asking and assessing your team. But the version of 02, what you have is, hey, do you have the competency actually, right? And by the way, what on the long term will always win is passion over competency. What I mean with that is, in startup world, you always have a lot, if not the majority of the times, big challenges. And the only thing that you are going to make it through those big challenges, by the way, that's not read in a book. I'm just sharing with you experiences, okay? So the only thing that keeps you through big challenges is why you want to solve that specific problem. So the why you want to solve that problem. And if this why resonates in the same way with the entire team, you're going to have a rockstar team that's going to manage that too. So step number one, pause a second, assess microeconomics, see what you bring to the table, right? Does it make sense so far, guys? Any questions, any thoughts, any contributions? I see just a thumbs up. Well, these emojis are very expensive tonight, Menon and Timothy, because there are no emojis. I think people have to pay here in cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, I love the emojis.
Either that or Tommaso sucks today. By the way, tell it if this is not leading in the right direction, because then I am a product always in optimization, right? I am here just for you, right? So if things sucks, then just share it with me and then I'll do my best to unsuck things, okay? Any questions, guys? Any thoughts, any questions? So far, so good? And Menon, I'm switching screen again. And Tim, if you want to support me on that, fantastic. Thank you so much, right?
Like you're doing
This is
great.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. This is kind, this is, and by the way, I'm going to share this with you, all right? This is kind of how I look at things when I start assessing the big picture, right? What's going on in the culture, in the society, any major shift happening. Governmental, right? I mean, in cryptocurrency, there's so many governmental challenges that are massively, that seek a massive problem solver, right? In the economy, right now we are facing an economy that is shifting from what? That is shifting from in real life to the digital world. So the economy is literally screaming for a digital solutions that are transparent, that are decentralized, that are validated by third parties, right? And then obviously technology, ecology. So what is massively broken? What are trends that you see, right? And this is kind of how I would encourage you, okay? What I would encourage you on how you assess your opportunity that you have in mind, right? So Kevin, this should have given you, this should have given you an initial flavor on how this should answer, is this big enough? Is this something that I would like to pursue, right? Is there a generation shift happening? Is there a certain rights limitation problem that I can solve, right? And describe those in terms of opportunities and threats on a deck, so that you get a clear understanding of what you're thinking of, right? So we switch now from macro, right? And we go into basically into the details, what exactly is broken, right? So you not only say, well, the technology and the market is crashing, but you then go and say, well, in the companies, okay, and by the way, I'm mentioning already something, in companies or in consumers, right? Again, another hint, out of the macro, you say in companies or in consumers, meaning you are solving a problem either for an entity, and within the entity for a group, if within the group for a certain role, or for a persona. So for you really to have a clear, tangible, and we will be working on that over the next week, by the way, right? To find your value proposition, to find your product market fit, to find your problem statement, which we are doing today, right? You will have to drill down at the persona level, right? What is Tommaso's challenge right now in the company, and can I solve that, right? So this is how you should, from top down approach, and then you zoom in and you have the bottom up approach almost. And we're going again to share this in the next week when we get to the value proposition design, where we have a framework. You go almost into empathy assessment, right? And say, okay, what does the person feel when they faces this problem? What does the person think when they face this problem? How are they solving this problem right now? And the reason for that is because we don't build technology for the sake of building a product. We don't build technology for the sake of just saying, hey, I have a piece of technology, that's what I did. What is innovation? Have you thought of what is innovation? When is innovation actually defined or accepted as innovation? Any thoughts? Innovation? When is innovation? How would you say that you define innovation? When it brings something new to the table. When is something new? Closing gaps retrospectively. Running expansion rather than horizontal. Introducing new ideas, devices. Yes. What is from a benefit perspective? Doing something differently. Yes. All correct. All correct. Thank you for participating, guys. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Thomas. Surya. Question. How would you define innovation? Thank you, Manan, for your support. Avery. Thank you, Bo. Thank you so much. Naman, solving an unsolved problem. Innovation from a benefit perspective, dear class, is when you provided a solution to a problem that has an order of magnitude to be 10 time better, faster, cheaper. So in your problem assessment today, you will be asking you the ultimate question. Well, how are they doing it today? And is it 10 times better, faster, cheaper? Is it 10 times cheaper than they do it today? Is it 10 times faster than they do it today? Is it 10 times better than they do it today? Definition of better is very broad, obviously, right? Could be better in the user experience, right? And there is a lot of space to interpretation. And you see also that these are kind of three different assessments, because cheaper is actually very easily calculatable, right? So, but this is basically the definition. What you are going to ask you, how is it 10 times better, faster, cheaper, right? Because what you then are going to do, again, I encourage you to do, you don't have to do it because entrepreneurs, there are no right pathways, but what I encourage you to do is, okay, in order to assess what is exactly broken, okay, is to basically have opportunities and threats that come from the market, right? And basically then compare them with what you bring to the table, with the strengths and weaknesses, right? Why? Because if you compare them, opportunities and threats from the market, and the strength and weakness, what you bring to the table, what you create are options, right? And the options create basically chances and risks, right? And this is a nice exercise for you to run at least once with your team once you have defined the ideas, okay? So now that you have kind of an initial assessment of the idea, you say, okay, let me double click on a couple of those ideas. And there are a couple of rules when we talk about ideas in a team, okay? So first of all, you can really get crazy in ideas. What I mean with that is when you are in ideation mode, I repeat, teams that are in ideation mode, the definition of it is the fact of you in a team flourishing and giving space to your idea. There is no right or wrong. Ideation doesn't mean you to assess. Ideation means free flow. Ideation means no structure. Ideation means just let it come, okay? So once you said, okay, I would like to focus on the macro and microeconomy, just let it come. Just brainstorm with your team, right? Because then what you're going to do, you're then going to bring structuring into that, right? You're again going to say, okay, how important is it now? How big is it? How do we validate that? And I will basically share you in your assessments here, in the group work, I will share with you some tactics on how to do that, right? IDEO, which is one of the globally most renowned innovation companies, right? They say when you ideate, please defer judgment, okay? Encourage wild ideas, build on the ideas of others, stay focused on the topic. You see, the topic is always clear, but then you are very flexible on how you solve that, right? One conversation at a time, be visual, because visualizing basically gives you tangibility to what you say, and go for really for quantity at this stage. Again, ideas equal quantity, right? Once we have those ideas, we get almost into the next part, which is hypothesis or reality. What are the evidences, right? And now you want to basically go here and have an assessment of who exactly has this challenge, persona definition. How are they feeling facing this problem? And by the way, what we are doing today, please take pen and note. Tommaso is not asking about the solution. I'm not talking about solution. I'm not talking about you developing something. I'm talking about problem assessment. This is before solution. And you will be seeing over the next class, if you didn't understand this one here, you will be missing out on a lot of things afterwards. You know why? Because if you are not clear, repeat very slowly, if you're not clear in the problem that you are solving, you will be not capable of expressing the solution that you have to offer. Repeat, if you're not clear and capable of expressing in details the problem that you are solving, you will be not capable of conveying the solution that you're bringing, okay? So it's very important that you build the strength of you developing. You build the strength of you developing the capability of saying, I exactly understand what problem I am solving. I see so many pitches of startups, right? And in most of the startup pitches, right? Everybody wants to talk about the solution, the solution, the solution, the solution. I do technology, I do blockchain, I bring crypto. But what's the problem that you're solving? You're not doing technology for the sake of building a solution. You do technology for the sake of solving this problem. What is it solving? Well, Tommaso, it's 10 times faster. Listen to Elon Musk, how he talks about their technology. He always talks about order of magnitude. You say, hey, my Tesla's 10 times order of magnitude reduction of carbon dioxide. Period. He doesn't say what the Tesla is or what the Tesla is, right? He focuses on, this is the problem that I'm solving, okay? And if you are you develop the skill as an entrepreneur to focus on this problem, right? You will be loved by the press, you will be loved by, because you don't focus and you develop a love for the product. You develop a love for the problem. You develop love for the problem, right? So, and in this exercise today, and this will be also the assignment for the next class, I would like you to embark on the problem statement. By the way, take notes. Tommaso is not asking you about a value proposition. I'm asking about a problem statement. Value is after the problem statement. We are still in the phase of ideation and defining a product. So because you are still in the ideation phase, you have what? You have assumptions. So your problem statement is always, I assume. Why, Thomas? Because I have to validate. So I assume that, okay, a specific persona, a role, a passenger, right, feels threatened. This is the negative feeling, okay, feels treated off the shelf. A passenger feels treated off the shelf when commuting the activity, because no personalized experience, this is the obstacle, is giving. Again, problem statement is, we assume that a customer feels frustrated when getting something done because it's broken. That's where we stand right now. And it's interesting now that you start seeing a couple of nuances in entrepreneurship. You remember in class 01, when you got together with folks, you say, hey, this is my solution. Do you want to do this and this, right? And we are not even at the solution space. So first the team, now the assumption and the ideations and the value hypothesis statement for problem statements, right? It's not even in direction solution. So here is one example for the problem statement. Again, we assume that a role, a passenger in this case, feels treated off the shelf. This is the negative feeling that you would like them to craft when commuting the activity, right? Because no personalized experience is given. And this is the obstacle, right? Once you have this problem statement, right? Last but not least, and maybe it's not last, but it's the beginning actually of the real exercise, right? You have to gather experiences, because whatever you have on paper are hypotheses, and now you have to validate your hypothesis, right? Walk in your persona's shoes, okay? So you have now to find the persona and to approach the persona that you are thinking, again, that you are thinking that you might solve this problem, right? Because you think, you have an hypothesis, you think that you might solve this problem. So then you go into the persona and say, well, is it true that if I serve you a piece of technology, and now you see that the technology almost becomes, I wouldn't say secondary, right? But it's actually just serving to solve the problem, right? 10 times faster, cheaper, better, right? And you say, well, what technology do I use? If you want to have transparency, if you want to have decentralized approach, if you want to have a more open system, it's blockchain, right? Then it's a decentralized application, right? So don't explain, but ask and listen. And we will be sharing this with you when you're going to do your experiences. And these experiences are the moment of truth. The moment where the entrepreneurs, how often did I think that I was right? Because I felt it, because I was searching for something, right? And then when I spoke with several folks out there, right? When you do customer interviews, you say, well, it doesn't actually sound that there is a need, or maybe just changing the usability experience and making mine more colorful, or changing the onboarding, it's not 10 times better. right? So this is the moment of truth. This is the moment where you keep on basically assessing, learning, revalidating, and readjusting, right? Avoid biased feedbacks. Don't call your mom, don't call your dad, don't call your sister, don't call your brother, don't call your friends. As an entrepreneur, what this close circle will tell you is thumbs up. They will tell you, amazing what you're doing, but they won't have the very specific problem. They will be biased the way that they will judge it. So in order for you to go the extra mile and move out of your comfort zone and face the truth, you need to meet somebody that is exactly in the circumstance that you need the person to be, that might need your problem and might need your solution. Okay, run focus groups, pitch your idea over and over and over. Okay, as an entrepreneur, yeah, pitching is something that, and you will be seeing then my what I will be introducing, the art of storytelling in a couple of classes, right? But pitching is something that maybe might be the core, because you convey what you do in a very story-like way. So pitch your idea over and over, and build a community of folks that basically believe in what you do. So before we get into the group, I want to show you here another startup. This was actually my most recent startup, my most recent startup, because before I went into VC, Swag, right? Swag was a video messaging app for a teenager. I'm talking about, you guys might remember the time when this app came on the market, and one was acquired from Twitter, was called Vine, Vine. It was the first app that had videos. So Instagram had no videos back then. There were no stickers on the market, right? We were basically a competitor to Vine. We were having 25 seconds of videos, one of the first apps with videos and stickers. Anyhow, so what I felt back then is that there was a generation shift, okay? And that the generation was annoyed about, back then, the very classical pictures on Instagram and the limitation of a like and a comment on Facebook, right? And in parallel, Snapchat, back then Snapchat had not even raised the A round, which was still at Stanford, right? There was wine on the market. So I was sensing that there is a shift, right? Then I started assessing if I and my team would bring the right industry knowledge, the competency basically to build an app, right? To approach customer, right? And to beat the competition, right? And what I assumed, and this is my problem statement from back then, and you see here the framework applied, I assumed that teens wanted to capture and share videos of thrilling times because lack of rich engagement became boring, right? I still love this slogan. If you don't have swag, you don't have swag. Did you hear it, by the way? Well, I heard the sound. Did you hear it?
Oh, sorry. I think Tommaso, it may be nice to play one more time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could play it over and over again.
I think you need to stop sharing and then reshare with sound.
I stop sharing and then?
And then share again with sound. There should be an option for that.
Okay, stop sharing. And then you say share screen. Okay, I don't see the option just with sound.
Professor Dan, do you have support on this?
Sorry, Mr.
Yeah, I think you have to share a tab, and then you can share computer audio.
Mm-hmm.
But
so instead of sharing your whole screen, you need to share a very specific tab. So stop share and do that. It's fun. I love tech issues, right?
Thank you.
Always
Thank you,
a good
Dan.
time. Yeah.
Chrome tab. Well, that's not the Chrome tab. That's the point, right? And then I say window or entire screen, right?
So it's a Chrome tab is what you want.
But it's not in a Chrome tab, right? It's a deck. It's a separated keynote.
Mhm. You could
Yeah.
try with a particular application; it might do it.
It is saying here share tab audio, but just if it's a Chrome tab.
Right.
No worries. I mean, I can. Yeah, no worries. It's just the. Thank you so much, Dan.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just the video of the value proposition that we actually then created for this very specific product. That, by the way, raised $3 million back then. I'm talking about 7 years ago now, so it's a while. Yeah, and what we did maybe to show you, that I walk the walk, that I drink my Kool-Aid, that I eat my own dog food, right? Is the last thing what you want to do is really to validate them, because it was for teenagers, right? I was always on the field, always validating, and for those who know me, always making noise and always having fun with whomever I meet, right? So, yeah, that is a framework about validation. I want to pause here before we get into the group work and hear your thoughts, any questions that you guys have, anything that you would like to discuss. This is the best question. Who is this? Ji Yang Sheng. Why did it fail? I already said it in class 01, but let's see if somebody invite to stage. Let's invite him to stage. You go over how to fundraise in the Valley. What do investors look for? Yes, Jeffrey, I will be not only going over, but I will provide this class the privilege of talking with the global largest investors of metaverses, which is Yat Su, which is the founder of Animoca Brands, who will be here talking about what he looks at entrepreneurs. So, Jian, ask me. Thanks for coming on stage, Jian. Can you hear
Hello?
me? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Yes,
I
I
can
can.
hear you. So ask me. I love the question.
Yeah, so it seems like a great idea at the time, and you did receive funding. I was just curious, like when you thought, when you look back, what are some of the reasons you think caused the product didn't
How much
Right.
attention would the class pay to what I'm going to share to my response? How much attention? Who would like to hear and really, not just listen to it, but really absorb it and embrace this, what I'm saying? Okay, Dak Paul. Okay, Naman. And I'm not saying, guys, again, don't get me wrong, right? I'm not saying that I'm reading a book right now. So what I would like to encourage you is what I'm going to share with you, Geoffrey. Okay, I'm going to share with you is going to be very simple from the perspective of you listening, right? But it has a tremendous depth. Okay. So was it challenging to raise funds? Yes. Was it challenging to build a team together? Yes. By the way, was it challenging to keep the team together? Yes. Was it challenging to build the product back then from a technology standpoint, because there was no video? We had to portion the video, how you upload it in the cloud, right? Then we had stickers on top of clouds, right? The new usability experience. Was it challenging to build a product? Yes. Was it challenging It was challenging. But you asked me, Jiang, what made you fail, right? Team. Because when I came up with this idea, I was so in the urge, I repeat again, I was so in the urge to make this happen, because I fall in love with the idea and I started validating, right, that I did not dedicate enough time, okay, to align the vision and the culture for the folks that I was inviting into the company or having in the company, right? Meaning I was hiring fast or having a partner faster than what I should have dedicated time for. Why? Because once we started facing challenges, we saw that the persons, the why, I as the originator of it, because then it's basically the fault of you, the one who maybe kept it going, right? I didn't assess and I didn't dedicate enough time. That's the reason why I say, guys, don't skip class 01, right? Obviously, this is a class. If you know, within in May, you are done and it might be a project. But if you're thinking really of creating your startup, right? The phase 01 in the entrepreneurial phase, right? It's fundamental because it's I mean, everybody says it and it sounds kind of cliche, right? But it's a marriage. It's really a marriage, right? So Jiang, team. Me, Tommaso, back then, I did not dedicate enough time to align the vision, the mission, the values with the team. And as soon as we went through challenge 1 or 2, 3, the team started basically disaligning, okay, and then basically it become too fragmented, right? Great lessons learned. That's the reason why I like to share them, right? Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Jiang, for the question. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, guys, I mean, this hour and a half is really not too much time, right? We have like 15 minutes. Thank you so much, Dylan. Thank you for the thank you. Naman, thank you so much. Thanks for sharing. Takpal, thank you so much. This hour and a half is not too much. There is some group work that you can start here in the class, right? But again, entrepreneurship is not to be done in the class, dear students, right? I mean, you need to carve out some time in order for you to group together, right? And to really work on your class assignments, right? Today, the class assignment will be the problem statement, okay? And the problem statement, we will then pick a problem or a team next week so that we walk together through the problem statement and what you learned, what you assessed. And this is the beginning of the journey. By the way, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear students, you will be seeing that the more you get into the entrepreneurial, right? So phase of one was, step of one was team. Now we go into ideation. Then we go into value proposition design. You will be starting seeing that you will have a lot of activities in parallel. That's the nature of it, right? And in order for you to have the capability to perform on those, you need to start reflecting on divide and conquer. So having really roles that are focused on doing stuff. Okay, just as a hint of how you want to think about things, right? I will be doing the following. I want to pause here the live session, okay, and I will be sharing with you before we pause this screen that I'm not even going to read because it's not about me reading some stuff. I think it should be very linear from an understanding perspective. If you take a screenshot of that, or maybe Tim and Manon might be helping also on this one here up. So if you want to take a screenshot about that, this is the assignment, right?
Yes.
And then
we'll post it on general.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your support. If this is the assignment, which is we go in direction ideation, okay? We would like you to find evidences of your idea. Here you have a series of tools and suggestions on how you do that, okay? Which, by the way, you see here, this is the moment of truth. You know, you start thinking, oh, is this big enough, right? Then you start basically double clicking on it with your team and sharing your roles here, right? I think by now you might have already taken a screenshot. It's 7:45. I suggest that we go up until 7:55, 10 minutes. I would like to go through a couple of tables, right? And then we have just 5 minutes at the end, announcement and sessions, okay? And with that, thumbs up or thumbs down. Was this valuable, guys? Yes or no? Those emojis are so expensive today, or Tommaso Sachs. Is there anything we can do better? Please share with us, okay? Thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you at the tables.
Yes, and Professor Tommaso, just one more thing before we break out.
Yeah.
Just an announcement to all of you is that the attendance form has been posted, and we're going to be posting the form with a code word, and it includes a little bit of daily reflection and feedback. So the code word for today is DAP Gala, as in DAPP space GALA, to represent our party that we're going to be having next Tuesday. So go ahead and type that in to the code word. Yes, and we don't want to save it in the chat because you can have the chat history available. So this will just be available during class.
Fantastic. I'll see you in the lounge. And we are back live, still streaming directly from the studio of Silicon Valley with Manon and Tim. How are you, Manon? How are you, Tim?
Yeah, doing great.
Fantastic. Well, dear class, I can sense that there is some pressure coming up. There are things that are becoming more and more challenging. Oh, not only do we have the team now and find the team and get along with the team, but now we have also to find something that has an appeal, as an opportunity. And
It's
as...
o'clock.
Come again? Oh, is it something? I heard something. And we have also obviously some challenges, which are we are all decentralized, at least still right now, and remote, right? Which I got a notification and a message from Leah. Absolutely right. Leah is saying, well, we cannot embrace online things like intuition and sensation and alchemy, which is absolutely right. But I cannot undo COVID, and it's challenging, but we are all in the class of entrepreneurship. So it's not about what is the challenge, it's always about how do you solve the challenge, right? So, Leah, how do you solve the challenge, right? What is a way of you making the best out of circumstances, right? That's what basically is really a talent that we would like to develop here in class. We're going to face a lot of challenges, and how do you find solutions? And yes, I am not your professor. I'm sharing my lessons learned with you. This is not a class. This is real life. This is entrepreneurship, right? So always you would like to have a creative way of finding a solution to things, right? And obviously, I'm here to guide you. And not only me, but starting with the next weeks, we will be starting introducing a bunch of guest lecturers, right? That are between the globally most renowned guest lecturers in its industry, in blockchain, in metaverse, in NFTs, right? By the way, we have a lineup, which I'm not going to share with you, but I want to share with you only a couple of numbers. Between 40 and 50 industry leaders that are going to be assisting you with the challenges as either guest lecturers or mentors that we will be introducing over the next weeks. Okay. Yu Guang, you have a question? Yep. Go ahead. Hand mic. Okay, I can hand the mic. Oh, that's a funny. Cool. The stage is yours, Yu Guang.
Oh, okay. So
you have 2 minutes.
Oh, 2 minutes. Okay, I asked my question very quickly. I just echo back a little bit. So how do you suggest we to look for or find assumptions for the problems? Because you start everything to make our assumptions for those problems to solve, right? So what do you suggest us to go for it? That's my question.
I will be sharing with you. Thank you, Yuan. Thank you for coming on stage. I will be sharing with you a framework right now. That is a framework on how you start assessing your assumption, validating your assumption. There are a couple of metrics on how you can quantify assumptions, right? Obviously, you can go as far as you're just researching, right? The other thing is problems that you know personally, right? But then there are some specifics such as Google Trends, and that's exactly what I want to share with you here. I'll be sharing the deck, by the way, with you. You're seeing right now. Are you seeing the deck, guys? I see it's kind of okay. Let me go in full screen mode, so maybe it's a bit.
Yes, full screen would be great.
Okay. So to respond to your question, I will be sharing with you this deck here, which is the same page that I was showing you, right? Here you have evidence searches, right, that you can go do through Google Trends, right? You can do competition assessment, right? You can look to Google patterns, right? Alternative solutions that are existing, for instance, in doing in search, right? But I mean, keep it very, let's say, what I explained today, digest what I explained today. And we are in a moment of shift. We are in a moment of change, right? We're just you will be finding problems everywhere, right? And then once you start creating ideas, start ideating, right? Create sticker notes with your team. By the way, there are online tools then where you can create sticker notes, right? And you can start then brainstorming with it, right? This should give you a guidance on how you start. So there is nobody who is coming and saying, hey, this is the problem you want to solve. Okay? It's you as an entrepreneur seeking it, or you as an entrepreneur facing this problem and then wanting it to solve. You have these two options, right? Or you look at the market and say, what if I could adjust things, right? So that's a kind of the approach. So there is no way of a professor or instructor, which I'm not, your professor. I'm sharing here as an entrepreneur what I did, and I give you kind of frameworks, right? Now it's about you to seek those frameworks, right? And to approach these things, right? Ask people, hey, what is your problem actually that you think might be solved, right? Go in a specific industry, right? So talk with people. This is always a good thing, right? So for next week, we are going to do, dear class, right? Please look first on the left side, assignment due by next week, right? How to recognize an opportunity. I would like you to create a deck. Oh, Tommaso, who should be creating a deck? The team should be creating a deck, you all together. In this deck, the goal is to have the problem statement. Oh, Tommaso, what is the problem statement? I shared with you already this deck. So this is what we went through today. Oh, I shared the other deck too, right, Manan, which is the deck that I showed you previously, right, where you see the structure of the problem statement. Okay, Tommaso, you get two files, right, dear class. This here, which defines and describes the assignment, and the other one that I just presented, it has the problem statement, right? And what you want to do is really hunt this challenge. What is the problem? Why is it a problem? How big is it? How frequent? Yeah. How often? How is it solved today? What makes your idea different? And then ultimately, what is the goal, Tommaso? I would like to see ultimately next week problem statements. Okay, very important pitfall. This is not an ask for a solution. I'm not asking, hey, we're doing a technology. No, wrong. That's not. I'm asking for the problem. My hypothesis is that this very specific person in this circumstance has this challenge and has basically the need of something to be solved, right? And then, as always, but this is kind of implied by now, weekly vlogs, such as the one that Jacob did today. Again, congratulations, right? So expect curveballs. And then next week, we will be having Hirish Lottlicker, which is a Super World Metaworlds co-founder and CEO. Super hyped right now. Was 2 weeks ago on CNBC. He will be talking about ideas and opportunities again next week. Manan, Tim, anything that we forgot? Anything that you would like to add? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to say one more thing. Homework will generally be due 1 week after it is assigned. So, for example, for these assignments, if you get it in before the next Thursday class, you should be fine. Just to make that clear for everyone.
Fantastic. Manon, anything from your side?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah. Okay, class. I would like to thank you for being a part of the hypothesis and opportunity / problem assessments. Okay. I feel that, and I want to indicate again, right? You're going to have more and more challenges, more and more responsibilities. As a team, you would like already to have, hey, Tommaso said divide and conquer. Hey, how about you do this? I do that, right? So start also thinking of sharing responsibilities between you. Yes, it's COVID time. Yes, we're digital. Be creative the way that you engage the best. Starting with next week, we will be in class, so you will be having also the opportunity to meet your peers and start building your interrelationship with them, right? And Yu Guang also here answered again about the assumptions for the problems. At the end of the day, talk with people. And by the way, we are not even yet in the validation phase because I'm slicing it down step by step. Okay, but talk with people. Who has a problem? Not a company, not a thing, but people. So if you have an assumption, talk with people, right? Okay, with that, I would like to thank you. Thank you so much for the attendance, and let's make some noise. Thank you, Manon, Tim. Without you, it wouldn't be possible. By the way, it's not about what Manon and Tim do here in class, the 90 minutes, but what they do during the week. I'm so humbled to have you part of this team. This is a rockstar team. You know, we did our homework and having
Thank
great
you.
foundation for having a team. Dan, if you're still around, we love you. We missed you today. Thank you so much. I'll see you next Tuesday. You stay safe, stay out of trouble, and make shit and do shit, and let's learn together. Bye, guys. Stay safe.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.